This one,
Yep.
just head to adskiller.com. Click on Activate Now.
Alrighty, live from Cabot, Arkansas.
Yep. Just head to adskiller.com.
Okay. Get past that part. Live. Cabot, Arkansas. Okay. Okay. Waiting just a second for that loop to end out. Stop happening. Okay, maybe now. Waiting just a second for that loop to. Alrighty, so hopefully we're ready to go now. Live from Cabot, Arkansas, it is Answering Your Financial Questions with Ramsey Solutions Certified Coach Steve Money. YouTube.com/Coach Steve Money. Scroll down. Alright, so hopefully we're ready to go now. Okay, so that works. Scroll down for further financial content. That's this stream, Answering Your Financial Questions playlist. Today is number 119 of those. Ramsey Show After Show, and there are 387 of those. And in the music playlist, there are 11 Ramsey adjacent songs in there. I do enjoy those. If you are so inclined, let's get into the questions. CO, maybe Colorado, amateur. All right. Wife going back to school. Thoughts on student loans? That's a no from Dave, dog. For me as well. There's no baby step 0. It's not on there, but part of baby step 0 is where you decide you're going to pay off your dumb, stupid debt, and you're not going to ever take out any more, except maybe for a mortgage. You can pay full cash for that too. That is the preferred way, but Dave will not yell at you for getting a mortgage for a house that you live in. Anytime I look for Dave's advice on student loans, is typically about how to pay them off. I'd love any advice on the front end is to not take them out. Why would you have a baby step 2? It doesn't say take out loans if you don't have them. Doesn't say that anywhere. The idea is no loans, so I don't get that. What up, Maddie Bags? Hashtag mention on the front end. The front end is to do not take them out. If there's college involved, you cash flow it. Grants, scholarships, no loans. 12 years of raising kids. Wife's ready to start a career. Thanks for the bullet points. She's decided on nursing, which is $35,000 to $40,000 all in. We have a 2 to 3 month emergency savings. I would recommend a 6-month emergency fund if you have a mortgage, just because there's so much that can go wrong with the house. And guess what? You're the landlord, so you have to fix whatever is wrong with it. So I would recommend a 6 months. And so, it does say 3 to 6 months. So, but people love to do their own thing instead. We're about 7 years away from being finished with our mortgage, and then we'll be debt free. Not if you take out student loans, which is not the advice. So again, that's a no from me, dog, and a no from Dave on student loans. No loans ever, except on a house that you live in. That is the only thing he will not yell at you about as far as debt. So you just cash flow it. And yep, it take longer. You have to save up longer. And it, again, will take longer. Tough. Unable Marion Barry 40. Investing versus paying off home early when technically in retirement and unable to use 401k or IRA. Technically in retirement. So I'm technically in an early medical retirement, okay. Making a decent amount guaranteed for my life, okay. Since my income does not come from a W-2, I cannot contribute to a 401k, though, and my wife will be a stay-at-home mom. So do I skip the investing step? Also, my kid college already taken care of unless they decide to do a very expensive college out of state. Tell them they can't do that. You're only helping them with in-state college. They don't get a vote on that. Should I still be investing while paying off the house early? Yes, you should still be that. The exception would be if you can pay the house off in 2 years, then you can take that time off of investing, especially since you can't get any tax deferred. Tax, either tax on the, no tax on the contributions or no tax on the growth in the case of a Roth in the latter instance. But yeah, if you can pay it off in 2 years, if you don't invest, do that. Otherwise, invest the 15%, just put it in a brokerage account, and you'll have to pay taxes on it going in and coming out as well. But then you have more in retirement. But I just focus on paying the house since I already have fixed income that grows each year. No, you should still save for retirement. 6% mortgage. By the way, I assume my primary option for investing would be opening a Fidelity account. No, you can use any brokerage account. I don't know why people always think they have to name one and say that. And investing in S&P 5. No, you don't have to do that. You can do managed funds, even in a brokerage account. And even in a brokerage account, 40% of managed funds can beat the S&P 500 index. So you're leaving money on the table. To not do that, especially if you have a lot of years left in the market before you are retirement age. I know you're already medically retired already. But if you have another 20 years in the market, there's no need to be non-aggressive, like in just being dumb bonds or a target date fund or something like that that's going to not get you as much money. So be aggressive unless you are close to actual retirement age in addition to being medically retired. Medical conditions make life insurance very expensive. Yep. So I see the biggest risk too. See what the rest of that is. Probably just a little bit. The biggest risk to my family is me dying before the house is paid off or dying without a nest egg, whichever is more important. Yeah. So if you don't have, if you had life insurance already, that should still be in place. If you didn't, then you screwed up by not having it in place. Have no other debt, fabulous, and multiple months of emergency fund. I would get 6 months. I would have that first before doing anything else, and then you can either pay the house off early or if you can do it in 2 years, you can not invest at all. But if it's going to take you longer than 2 years, just go ahead and invest at the same time. Yeah. Similar question here. Reddit username 3. Pay off house with 401k. That's a no, dog. No from Dave, dog. No from me, dog. Not going to Hollywood with that idea. Is it wise choice to pay off the remaining mortgage with my 401k? No. I know I'll get hit with a penalty, but is it worth it to save all that interest? No. Because you also have to pay taxes on any growth as well. You can't take out the contributions without extra taxes. Oh no, you would have to pay that on that too. Because you got tax deferred on the contributions going into the 401k if it's not a Roth 401k. So it's taxes and penalties. And so hopefully that's more than all that interest. So yeah, you would not do that. You don't tap retirement until you are retired, unless it's to avoid foreclosure or bankruptcy. That would be the only other reasons to do that. The only two reasons to do that. Yeah, otherwise you do not do that. You just pay it off the slow way. That means not spending money on anything else. No quick fixes. The quick fix, obviously, most times, is not the best answer, because you think it's good, you think it's taking care of the problem, but no, it's not. You're losing a lot of your retirement with those penalties and the tax on the growth. Why is Dave against index fund? Fozzie Bear 550. They're low cost and they follow the market closely. I feel it doesn't matter what you feel like. Numbers are numbers, and they have a set amount. They have a set worth on the numbers. So your feelings on it don't matter. But it says, I feel that most actively managed funds don't beat the market consistently enough for their higher cost. And well, you feel wrongly. You haven't been looking for them. I don't know the exact numbers. Dave has been saying for years that 40% of managed funds beat the index. And so I know I found them really easily. No training, just listening to Dave's advice on picking managed funds. Just everything that he says on YouTube. It wasn't any extra stuff. The internet has all the information about every mutual fund on there, and you can compare them to the S&P 500. So you can do that, but they are out there, and by just going index, you are losing out. You're leaving money on the table by doing that. Now, as far as using the market for a piggy bank, he does use an S&P 500 index fund for saving for purchases. Like he personally puts his real estate buying money into an S&P 500 index fund because he may take it out anytime that he finds a good deal. So, and that's why you would do that. You would not want that in a tax advantaged account because of said taxes and penalties. You would just have the taxes on the brokerage account S&P 500 fund that you're using for a piggy bank. Future Mrs. 33, should I pay off my 2 credit cards now or in the next 3 months? Why would you wait? That's so dumb. You're paying more interest by not waiting. By waiting, I mean. By not doing it now, you have more interest. $5,400 in credit card debt. The monthly interest is $145 for the cards. I have over $25K. Dumb, so dumb, so dumb. Let me keep this debt around, but also have savings. So dumb, so dumb, so dumb. But I don't want to touch it. You can do that if you want. It's really dumb. Not advised. You can do that if you want. Your life, your money. I can pay about $500 towards the cars per paycheck and pay them off eventually, or take money out of my savings to pay them off. What do you think, guys? Should I do? Well, if you consult the baby steps, it's fairly self-explanatory. And so I don't understand the need for the question. It says pay off all debt using the debt snowball. And that implies you're doing that as soon as possible. You see up here where it says save $1,000 for your start emergency fund. It doesn't save an extra. How much does he have? It doesn't say save an extra $24,000 in a high yield savings account. It does not say that. Where does it say that? You do not do more than $1,000 until you get to step 3, which is after step 2. Step 1, 2, and 3, you do one at a time, and you do not move forward until you get that one done. No doing step 2 until your step 1 is done. No doing step 3 until step 2 is done. That's a lot of the same sounds. Lots of steps and 2s. What other kind of crap is this person talking about? Also, most assuming a female, because future Mrs. Also, most of my credit debt is from car problems over the last 8 months. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it's for. Doesn't change the advice. Ever. I mean, the advice is based on your numbers, not on how you got to the numbers. I mean, that as like on the Ramsey show, where they call in and talk about it. I mean, that adds color to the situation so that it's not just numbers, but it really doesn't matter. So I may need a car soon. And that you would also pay for out of your freaking 25,000K high yield savings account. Quit being dumb. My vehicle is 15 years, love it. But lately, every day, something is out of sorts. I want to get another car next year, cash, and I'm saving towards that. Well, you don't save for something while you have debt, other debt. So that's great that you're not going to get a car loan, but you also need to get rid of the credit card loans. You pay those off today, and you just muddle through with your current vehicle that you love. You just muddle through with that until it dies, running into the ground. And then you buy another one. You can start saving for it after you finish paying off all your debt and have a full emergency fund. You'll have to build that up after you pay off the, but maybe not much. Depends on how much the emergency fund you're saving, how much expenses you have. Jolly Antelope 1463. So after working tirelessly for 15 years and I'm saving, when do I finally pull the trigger and splurge? Example, jewelry or a sports car. Off note, why do I feel guilty spending on luxury items? Because you know you don't need them. And so, okay, so working tirelessly for 15 years, that's not very long at all. So, I mean, if 15 years has gotten you to, or you never had debt or anything, like that, and you're able to, at this point, be in baby step 4, 5, and 6. So if you got your full emergency fund, you don't have any debt, you can put stuff like that in the budget and pay cash for it, obviously, but it also depends on, I mean, just 15 years isn't a lot for retirement. Depends on how much you've been putting in there. If you've only been putting 15% of your gross income in there, that's not that much over 15 years. I mean, it's better than not investing at all or only investing for 14 years, certainly. But it just depends on your other numbers as far as how much to splurge. But on steps 4, 5, and 6, you can do any of this kind of stuff you want. You just need to pay cash, and you don't get a new car. Too much depreciation on that. You only buy a new car, and that's full in cash, of course. Only a new car if you are a millionaire because of the depreciation. So, but you can put anything you would like into your budget, sir, and pay for cash with it. Pay for it in cash. Okay, Welder 9760. Avoid thinking too much in my progress and focus in everyday work. Yeah, that's what happens. You get a lot of questions come from people in baby steps 1 or 2, and they want to plan the whole thing out when things may be completely different by the time they get to other steps. But they want to plan and worry about all the steps. And so, it's like Yoda said, Empire Strikes Back, about Luke. This one, a long time have I watched. Always looking to the future, never is focused on where he was or what he was doing. Let's see. It's been almost a year since I began my debt-free journey in September 2023. Now I'm close to reaching my goal. What goal? Debt started at $39,000 and managed to reduce it to $3,901. Great. By the end of September, I aim to bring it down to $2,274 and then to $588 by November. Great. By December, expect net worth to reach 7,676 positive. Great, with a plan to grow it to 33,000 within a year and save every year 25,000 from there on. Almost debt free, and I feel eager for this time to pass quickly. However, I realize I need to stay focused on my work and not let these thoughts distract me. Absolutely. This is a great post here. How can I avoid constantly thinking about my progress and stay focused on my day-to-day tasks? Just tell yourself to do that. This is debt-free flair, but the person is not quite debt-free yet. But sounds like getting there will be in December. And so Merry Christmas to that person. Absolutely. And so, yeah, you just got to think about what's important. And like I said, just for the last question, you don't try to plan out everything. Even this person with the saying, with a plan to grow it to 33,000 within a year and save every year 25,000, that's not the baby steps. So I don't know if your saving includes investing for retirement, but you would have, after the debt is paid off, you would have the full emergency fund. And then once that is done, then you do 4, 5, and 6 at the same time if all of them are applicable to you. If you don't have a house, don't have kids, then you're automatically on step 7 as soon as you start investing 15% of gross income into retirement. And you should be doing that rather than these other savings, unless there's a specific reason for this other savings. Like if you're going to move, do an expensive move or something like that, you would want to save for that before you start investing, certainly. But it depends on what it is. But not just the grow it to 33,000 within a year and then save every year 25,000. Why would it be 33,000 for the first year and then only 25,000? So there are questions here, but yeah, basically it's keep your mind on what you're doing. Do what you can do. Do all you can do instead of thinking about the future steps. Think about ways to get the current step 2, done faster. That's what you should be thinking about, how you can get that done faster. What else you can do without spending less to get there earlier. Robin Gray 1, physical or paper gold? Neither. Let's say I wanted to diversify into gold. It's a general consensus that it is never a bad idea to include some gold. It is a general consensus, but it's also a dumb consensus. All right, so let's just take a hypothetical. Let's say the US dollar collapses, okay? US dollar collapses. Do you think your physical gold or a piece of paper that says you own gold, do you think that's going to do you any good? Except have someone with bigger guns than you have take it away from you. Because we will have more problems if the dollar collapses and you think, oh, I've got gold, I'll be fine. That is the dumbest piece of crap I ever heard in my life. Foreign letterhead 17. Should I focus on a no interest debt or start saving? Well, so you see, Dave has this thing called the baby steps, and when you start thinking too much and saying, well, I can improve these or these don't apply to me, you're wrong about that. This says step 2, pay off all debt except the house using debt snowball. Does it say invest or save? It does not. Does not say that. So why would you assume that? I have no interest debt where I still owe about 4,000. Oh, it's bloody pounds or euros, and currently pay €200 per month. Baby step 2, you do it as fast as you can. You don't keep the loan around or the credit card payments around like it's a pet. You don't keep debt around like a pet. You get debt done first before doing any saving above the $1,000 emergency fund. Since this debt doesn't have any interest, would it make more sense to prioritize building up my savings? No, it doesn't. Because guess what? You still owe that money. So that's not really savings, because if it came down to it, you would have to liquidate the savings to pay off the debt anyway. Let's see, or should I stick to paying off sooner to be completely debt free? Imagine that would be the advice. But I don't know why people can't figure that out for themselves. Looking for some advice on the best approach. Thanks. Edit. I was thinking about baby step 3 when I talk about saving. Yeah, you do not go to baby step 3. And granted, it doesn't say steps 1, 2, 3, one at a time, and don't do higher steps. It doesn't say that. It needs to, apparently, because people can't deal with a numbered list and doing one step first. Instead, they want to do all 3 at the same time, or combined steps. And you do that on 4, 5, and 6. You do those still in order, but all at the same time, 4, 5, and 6. But 1, 2, and 3 is one at a time. Before moving on to the next one. And so by default on a list, I'm thinking do this one first. And then when you're done with that one, do that one and then that one. That's by default on it. I wouldn't assume by default you do everything all at the same time, which some people that have come in the Ramsey show chat, multiple people, have done that because they ran it through it. They said, well, I got the $1,000 emergency fund, and that's part of a larger savings. So that's 1 and 3 they're doing at the same time, and they still have debt, so that's 2 doing it at the same time, and they are investing, which you shouldn't be doing while you still have debt. So they're just doing it wrong. So it needs more explanation. Apparently you have to have the baby steps, and then under each one you have to have a paragraph about that big saying, don't do this stupid crap. You're doing it wrong if you do that. Why would you even think about doing it that way? That is illogical. Yeah, baby step 3. So that's a no. See, the flare you put on here, sir or madam, foreign letterhead 17, is baby step 2. So why the heck were you thinking about baby step 3? That doesn't have anything to do with you. You were on baby step 2. Embrace it. Do the step you're on, is the advice. What up, Aslan? Pacificus? What's the root of Dave's anti-CC use, even in responsible ways? Because everybody thinks they're responsible with it. Everybody that takes one out thinks they're going to be responsible with it. And only use it for stuff that they will be able to pay off. Guess what? And then that doesn't happen. All right? Yes, there are a small percentage of the population, a few people that use it just for the rewards, and they pay it off every month. And they may not ever have a problem, but guess what? Even people that pay it off every month, eventually they put too much stuff on it and can't pay it off every month. And so then, boom, the interest pops in and so forth. And then it generally just gets worse from there. And so that's the root of it, because they're not necessary. It's not necessary for you to use debt to get ahead. You do not have to do that. And even the responsible, smarter, more disciplined people, they can also follow this same advice and be successful as well. And the responsible, smarter, disciplined people, they will be even more successful on this plan than the 9 of those types. Combination boring. 220. 2 questions. As it says, the few people that are using it correctly are not asking about how to get out of debt. That much is certain. That much is certain. Because they probably don't have any. Because they know how dumb it is. And that's why they're paying it off every month. 2 questions. All right. Almost out of baby step 2 will be by the end of October. These are my questions. 37, currently rent, and my wife and I will bring in a combined like 165K a year. Okay. We started this from 0. Okay. At what step do I save for a house? I'm glad you asked. That would be step 3B, sir. And you would have to ask if you're just looking at the Ramsey Solutions 7 Baby Steps page, because it says step 1, 2, and 3, and it doesn't have step 3B is here where you would save for a house. So you're not saving for a house while you're doing steps 1 or 2 or 3. You get those done one at a time in order. And then once you do have and I recommend 6 months of expenses before you even think about saving for a down payment, because stuff goes wrong with houses. You need a 6-month emergency fund on that. And especially if it's more than just, it's not a single person. We're talking about a family here, at least a married couple. And so 6 months of expenses in your emergency fund, and that's even before you start saving for a down payment. And also, just in case you needed to know, none of that emergency fund becomes part of that down payment. No. Let's see. So that answers that question. Or do you not do that if you started this not already owning one? No, that's where you do it in 3B. If you don't already own one. If you already own one, when you start the baby steps, it depends on if you're house poor, whether or not you have to sell it and downgrade in housing. So you don't always have to, but if you don't already have one, then that's where you do it, step 3B. Second question is the cars. Currently drive a car, bought brand new 15 years ago, and it's on its way out after only 15 years. After only 15 years. Why is it on its way out? I work a job where I drive all over New England. Oh, that could be it. Put about 10K miles a month on my car. That can help. If I'm just buying beaters for, I'm scared it can affect my work. As what if the car breaks down and I can't work for a couple days? See if your job will furnish a vehicle. Could look into that. And you could always rent a car if you need to in an emergency for work. Or what if I'm running through 4 or 5 cars a year with how many miles I have? What would be your suggestion? Assuming it says public transportation, not an option there. There's nothing that says buy a new car anywhere. Now, once you get done with the full emergency fund, you can't, before you get a house, and this is what I'm saying. This is the problem with you having yourself in a situation where you want to do multiple high-dollar things at the same time, like buy a car and save for a down payment. You have to pick one, or do half-ass on both of them. It's up to you. Or, do 25% of all your extra money goes to the car and 75% the down payment. You can break it up however you want to. Or you can get beaters. Or, like I said, you can ask, since you have to drive for work, see if they do some kind of reimbursement or something like that, towards repairs or whatever. And see if there's anything that way. But if you have to provide the car, then that's on you to figure that out. Worst comes to worst, you get a different job. So that's up to you. The advice is not going to change because of this particular job that you have. It's not how the advice works. You are the one that changes your stuff instead. 2, what has been proven to work millions of documented times. Plenty analysis, 688, pay off mortgage. I was able to pay off $235,000 of student loans. Excellent. Started paying off my mortgage. I started with a loan at $560K at a 5.5 interest rate. Doesn't matter. I currently owe $432K. Okay, living in New York suburbs. And that wasn't a New York accent. And my house is worth about $800,000. It's very modest. It's a box-style ranch, but in a nice neighborhood. Every dollar outside of my 15% retirement, kids' college, and basic normal cost of living is going toward the house. Sounds like the baby steps to me. I believe this person figured it out. Why can't anybody else? Based on current salary and projections, I can have my house paid off in full in about 7 years. And most people find out these projections, they get it done before that. Just because they're being intentional with their money and so forth. And they find ways to make extra money or stop spending on something to make there be extra payments on the house. And so they can get done with that faster. Just questioning whether or not a strategy makes sense given that I will have no other savings or disposable income should investment opportunity or other opportunity arise where having cash on hand is necessary. Yeah, that's a no, dog. That's a no on that. So again, let's go back to the baby steps and see if we can find an answer for you that you couldn't find. You had it all the way up until I need cash around so I can pounce on an investing opportunity. That's a no, dog. Guess what you do? It's right here in the baby steps. Let's look. Let's look, shall we? Come on. Step 4, invest 15% of your household income into retirement. You do not invest any more in anything until steps 5 and 6 are taken care of. So you're just in kid college, maybe. If they have small children, you don't have to put much per month in at the time. But then every other cent, I mean, you can go on vacations, you can have fun money, you can spend some money on some fun stuff and some luxuries and go on vacations if you want, whatever you budget. That's fine. But you don't have other savings other than the full emergency fund and your retirement investments. You don't have a sludge fund for investing. No, you just invest 15% in retirement while you still have a mortgage. All that crap with the investment opportunities, guess when that comes in? After you pay off your freaking house and you're in step 7. See, it even says it. Build wealth. And of course, give as well. So that's when you do your building wealth. Right now, you're just investing your 15% for retirement. You're not building wealth, just having money laying around in case there's an investment opportunity. So you had it, you did understand it until you didn't want to understand it anymore, is what happens with most people, because they want to do something different. And he didn't want to pay the house off first. Repulsive Pudding, 18. How to think through a house reno. You don't really have to think through it. You don't do it if you have debt. You don't do it with debt. You don't take out a HELOC to do a freaking house renovation. You pay off the house first, and then guess what? With no mortgage payment, then you will be able to save money to do that renovation. See, wife and I, but people don't ever want to wait. They don't ever want to wait for things. So they go to loans. And Mr. Ramsey not down with debt. How about that? In case you never heard of Mr. Ramsey, you should watch his show. It'll become pretty apparent pretty fast that he's no debt guy. How to think through house right now. Wife and I are looking to add onto our back porch. Okay, not necessary at all. There's nothing broken here. There's not a leaky pipe in the bathroom that somehow turns into a bathroom remodeling. You know, that happens too. Instead of just fixing the broken pipe, it's got to be a bathroom remodel, which is so freaking dumb. Let's see. Had the dream of a back porch. Too bad. I truly enjoy spending more time on, etc. You know, screened in, TV, comfy. That's great. Depends on what step you're on. I battle heavily with spending the money or letting the money sit invested. Well, that is definitely a problem. If you can't keep money in savings without spending it, that does sound like a you problem there. There's the enjoy it now side of me and the save it for later side of me. I would enjoy the porch, of course. We are debt free minus mortgage. We are currently saving 40% of our monthly income and have for a couple years now. Well, where's that going though? Part of me feels we deserve to spend a little. You can spend a little. I don't know that adding to renovating the back porch. I don't think that's not a necessity. I would pay the house off first. So you shouldn't be saving extra other than the full emergency fund while you still have a house payment. So you're doing it wrong. And once again, the baby steps tell you the answer to all of your questions. We see ourselves in this house for at least 5 more years. Only 5 more years and you're going to renovate it? Dumb. That's dumb to me. We locked in the interest rate in the 2s. I'm so indecisive. Help. That's a no for me, dog. That's a no. You're only going to be there 5 more years. When you get another house, get one with a nice back porch. Wait 5 years. Dumb. Everybody is now. Stop that stupid crap. C Hedgehog 3395. Stressed. I see you stressed. I'm hashtag blessed. That's what is that song called? That's what gives financial peace. That's what gives financial peace. That's in the music playlist. YouTube.com/coachstevemoney. Check it out. If I think about it later, I won't remember, but I'll put a link to it right up here. Almost certainly I won't remember. I'm 26 years old. See, if I had a producer, they'd be writing it down to have me do it, or they would do it in the best case scenario. I'm 26 years old. I've been working for 5 years and make okay money, $70,000. Got a $20K loan for a car to pay off. Yep, not advised. It is advised to pay it off, though. I quite literally have not saved a penny and just had a financial... There's been an awakening. That's from episode 7, Force Awakens. I'm trying to take on 3 baby steps at a time. Now, there is one time when you do that. There's one instance you do that, and that's if you're on 4, 5, and 6, and this person is not on 4, 5, and 6 because he has a car loan. All right, so... What do you think about that, George?
You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Thanks, George. Paying more than the minimum on the $20K, throwing 15% in retirement, and trying to save $1,000 in a separate fund. Dumb, dumb, and dumber. All of my friends have nearly $100,000 saved out. Where'd your money go? Or do they make more money than you? And I'm worried there's no time to figure it out. Does anyone have any advice? Baby step 1, flare. So you know you're in baby step 1. So why are we talking about baby steps 2, 3, and 4 if you're in baby step 1? Dumb. Quit being dumb, people. I mean, you see a list. You would think do one at a time, wouldn't you? Why would you think you have to do all of them at the same time, or that you're supposed to do them at the same time? Doing that dumb, stupid crap and trying to improve the baby steps, even if that's the way you think it goes and you're not actually just trying to do it your own way, that makes it take longer. Doing it your way is going to make it take longer to get to step 7. So you're doing it wrong, and no wonder you're stressed because you have mental issues that make you look at a list and think, okay, well, I got to do all the steps on this list at the same time, or at least the first 3. Why'd you stop at, the first 4? Why'd you stop at the first 4? Why didn't you start saving for college for a kid you don't have, too? Why didn't you pay off your mortgage early, even though you don't have one, if you do? See, illogical, Captain. I don't understand. That would make me stressed too if I was not logical. Mango pad thai. Whoops, forgot to switch back. There we go. Mango pad thai. I could break even on the $26,000 amount I owe my car loan and get out of debt completely this weekend. Then you do it. Not reading any of the rest of your stupid crap. You do that then. You do that then. None of this paragraph means anything. Okay, I'm curious. Now I'll read it. I could break even on the $26,000 amount I owe on my car loan. I'm just going to say it's dumb. And get out of debt completely this weekend. According to a quote I got from CarMax, well, you can do better than that by selling at private sale. Because dealers take a cut. They are taking money out of your pocket, whether you use them for a trade-in, selling it to a dealer. They take a cut of it. So if you sell at private sale, that is all your money. Granted, you do have to take care of the title and all of that stuff as well, but you have nothing but time to do that. Your time is free to do that. But maybe a car note is worth it to have a little reliable car. No, it's not. So you're dumb for thinking that. Instead of saving up to buy a used one, ugh. I'm so stressed. Dave's criteria for whether or not one should keep or sell their vehicle. Keeping or selling the vehicle is your choice. But having the loan, Dave's criteria is to not do that. Again, maybe you're new, maybe you came from some other solar system and you just got on the planet and you needed money advice, and the first forum you found was the Dave Ramsey subreddit. Okay, I mean, I guess that could happen. I mean, if you typed in something with debt, it's possible it would get you there eventually. But I would think first would come up his website and stuff, and if you paid attention to 1 second of one of his videos, you would know that it's no debt. Especially a freaking car loan. You always buy those with cash. So that's a no. Can you pay it off within 2 years? You can choose to keep it if you want to, but that's all you're doing with your money. You're not doing any other your plans with your money, and you're not eating out while you pay off that step 2 debt. You're not doing anything. So if it's worth it to you to keep the car rather than sell it, then do so. Sell it. Does everything you have with two? So he knows that it's everything you have with wheels on it equaling less than 50% of your annual income. Yeah, that's how much car you should have even if you have no debt. Much less if you have, but you shouldn't have debt on any car, so you need to be paying that off. Either make the decision to pay it off and you sacrifice other things to pay it off faster, or you do sell it and move down in car. And he asks people if they love their car. Yeah. The answer is yes for all 3 things. Okay, great. So then you can keep it. Now you're going to be paying that off. So that's going to take time for you to get that paid off. So you don't get to do anything else with money until then. Just necessities then. Remaining load is 28% of my annual take-home pay. And my current plan, if I keep it, I'll pay it off by July 2025. So less than 1 year. Well, you don't just pay the payment amount. You pay it off quicker than that. But after listening to the show religiously, I feel stupid for buying it. You should. And you should also feel stupid for writing this because you should know better. Should know better if you watch the show religiously. You should know the answers to all of this stuff if you watch religiously. So everybody thinks that their little situation is different. It's not. The best thing to do if you find yourself getting into that kind of mentality where you're trying to justify your little situation, try to think of it as somebody else's problem and what you would tell them Dave's advice is. Because most people know, they just don't want it to be the right answer. Intelligent Cry. No, Matt Aslan's out. Intelligent Cry, 6597, excuse me, need financial advice. Husband lost his job 4 weeks ago. He works in a niche industry that is very low paying. He was lucky 2.7 years ago to get a field role making $100,000. We obviously didn't think he would get laid off, so we spent all the money. My salary does cover the mortgage. Oh, did you buy a very expensive house when you first got a job? And expenses and healthcare for the two of us. His unemployment is extra. But after 4 weeks of job searching, it is very unlikely he will even land a job making close to 100K. Well, probably got to sell the house then. He's looking at 50K, if lucky, 60K. He has no degree, no certs. He's just been in a niche industry for 18 years. He is thinking about getting a certification, perhaps for fire alarm tech. Okay, as long term, the pay is better and it's less schooling. He hates school. With that being said, we really can't save. You're not supposed to save. You're supposed to apply any money to whatever baby step you're on. And you probably can't make that house payment. Let's see what the rest of it is. Not even close to what we were able to save for last time. I feel like we need more breathing room. Yeah, you got to sell the house. It's too much house. We have 200K sitting in stocks and high yield saving account and brokerage accounts from a house we previously sold. So yeah, I would still sell the house if it's too much house. And you get a lower priced house. 145K is accessible. We can recast our mortgage with 100K and lower our mortgage payment by $950. Okay, as I'd also expect to get PMI off of our loan. Yep, I mean that would be good. Guess what you should have done? Should have done that in the first place when you first got the mortgage, instead of, again, having a bunch of savings and having more debt. Not how you're supposed to do it. It was due to come off in a few years. I checked with mortgage, and we do have the ability to recast. Okay, you can do either one you want, but I would take a look to see if this house is reasonable. Our mortgage is also at a rate of 6.375. We were hoping to refinance next year. When or if the rates go down for a conventional loan. So my question is, should I just sit tight until my husband finds work and not jump the gun on recasting our loan, or wait till we can refinance? But that is an if. Or should we recast, which provides significant breathing room and room for us to save for retirement? Again, it depends on some of the numbers that are left out here. Which is expenses and the amount of the mortgage payment. So based on him making only 50 or 60 when before he was making 100, even after you refinance it, are you going to be able to afford it? You have to decide that. And so in order to do the other baby steps, which includes this retirement you're talking about, and saving for kid college if applicable, and paying that mortgage off early as you're supposed to do in baby step 6, if that precludes you from doing that in a timely manner, then you move down in-house because you don't have a 100K job anymore, and you embrace the reality of that and make decisions upon it. Same person. Oh, is it the same thing? Need advise. Got advice right here, but right there. This is not exactly the same post. It's some of the same stuff. Like I posted twice. Cool dingo. 1248. Declining invites to order in lunch at work. on my debt payoff journey, but a few people at work that I'm social with have started all ordering pizza at work every Friday. Great. They've been asking me every week if I want to order with them, and I don't know how to politely decline without explaining my whole financial situation and plan. You just say no, thank you. You get out of your head thinking that your reasoning for everything has to be deep and such. You can just say no, thank you. You can just I brought my lunch, which you should be doing. They are work friends, but we don't hang out outside of work, so it doesn't really matter anyway. What do you care? They're just people you work with. I mean, you can be friendly with them, fine, but it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about your financial situation. They're not helping contribute, and they do not get a vote in it, so it doesn't matter what they think. Too many people care what other people think. It doesn't matter what they think. You make the best decision for you, and you go with it. Or know each other well enough to be talking finances with each other. Now, again, that's just you getting in your head, thinking you'll have to explain. That's just overthinking that. Okay, I'm a classic overthinker, so I know, but I don't do dumb stuff like bring up reasons why for everything. You don't have to explain. You just say, and the explanation is, no thank you, I brought my lunch. Or I'm getting something cheaper. You can just say that and let it lie. You don't have to explain your whole life to coworkers. Even coworkers you are friendly with. I don't get it. I let a skinny dork drive my car. Some dummy put this on here thinking, oh, I'm going to be funny and call George a skinny dork. This is him doing his Millionaires in Cars Getting Coffee with Caleb Hammer. And so I watched a little bit of it. It's fairly entertaining. Give it a look. Brian McG321 thinks he's funny. He is not. Crazy when sober. When would you drop full coverage? You really don't do that unless you are in a situation like Mr. Ramsey is himself, which guess what? He's self-insured. He has enough money to cover anything. But guess what? His wife, Sharon, would rather have life insurance on him than have extra jewelry and stuff. So she gets that. Dave calls that SWI. Sharon wants it. And so he can, of course, insure. He's fully insured himself. He can self-insure. And that's when you don't need insurance at all. And so, but as far as if you're on any baby step but number 7, you would still have full coverage. That's part of baby step 0. It's full coverage on car. J Smooth 0930 car maintenance. Just need some other opinions on the expense extra car maintenance that mechanics recommend besides your typical change, brakes, tires, etc. I'm referring to the every 30, 45,000 miles flush out services for your coolant or transmission. Are these things necessary? Yeah, I think they are. I don't think they're lying to us about that. Some of the other stuff, maybe, but this I would think probably. Because like anything that can be flushed out, it probably should be. And every, 50,000 miles or so, that seems like that would be a good time. That doesn't seem like that's a way for them to just make money to me. Now you can talk to a mechanic. If you have a mechanic friend, knows more about cars than you can do that. Paid off and closed my first credit card from BootPog. Y'all, I'm so excited. Just knocked out my first credit card and then closed it immediately. Excellent. Understands the assignment. Did not get confused on the baby steps. There was only about 170 on it. Okay. But hey, a win is a win. Absolutely. Next one to pay off is roughly $500. We're ready to tackle it and do the same. Baby step 2 flare. Excellent. And that is how it's done. Not confused. did not get lost somewhere along in the baby steps. Again, that's the How to Do the Baby Steps Right song, and that's in the music playlist on youtube.com/coachstevemoney. And of course, the link that won't be up here, this is where it would be if I remember to do these things. ADG 1416, should I pay my uni debt off? It should just be, it doesn't matter what it says right there as far as uni. It could be anything. It could say car. It could say, for stupid, like a PlayStation 5, whatever it says there. Doesn't matter what it says there. The answer is yes. Have you read the baby steps? It's baby step 2. The only thing you do before that is have a $1,000 emergency fund is the only thing you do before paying off all of your debt. And you don't do anything else. You don't do any other steps. You just pay your expenses and your minimum payments on everything until all of the debts are paid off. And you put all extra money to the lowest debt and you tackle them, smallest to largest, until there are none. And then that's when you proceed to baby step 3 and the full emergency fund, and then you save more. So I went to university in the UK and got my degree financed by the UK government. In total, it was £18.5 thousand. The student loan company only starts charging the loan back if you make over a certain threshold, which I make, but since I'm self-employed, they let me off the hook. Okay, here's the caveat: if the loan isn't paid in 30 years, it gets written off. Dave has gotten this question many times, and he's not worried about having it stay around for 30 years. You signed for it, you took it out. Doesn't matter if it's financed by the government or not. Doesn't matter if you're in the UK or not, you pay it off. You took it out, you benefited from it, you pay it off. You don't leave it sitting around like a pet. I've paid about £900, but I'm wondering if it's worth focusing on paying it off. Yes. For context, I've already got a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. You're doing it wrong. Pay off the debt. Investing for his retirement, you're doing it wrong. Pay off the debt. I don't pay rent since I live at home. Dave also thinks that adults should live on their own, not with parents. And then that will be your home, not your parents' home. I believe the interest on the loan is 8%. Yeah, you pay off your debt. Next question. It's pretty easy. Should I pay blank debt off? The answer is always yes. Maybe steps 4, 5, and 6 advice needed. Cashed 8. Whole life policy. Now what? You apply that to whatever baby step you are on. If you are already doing 15% out of every paycheck, covered. If you started addressing kid college, covered. Then you would put anything extra to the house. Oh, let's see what's on here. Fairly recent Dave convert as of the beginning of, excuse me, 2024. We're currently on baby steps 4, 5, and 6. Combined household income of $250,000. Recently took Dave's advice and ran away from a whole life insurance. That's right. We cashed out the policy, canceled the whole life insurance, and just added more term life to cover the difference. Well, you don't need to cover the difference in the cost of it. You need to cover the difference in the coverage of it. You need to have 10 to 12 times of your annual pay. If you have any dependents, that's what you need to cover, not the difference in payment. We ended up with $14,500 when we surrendered the policy. So my question is, now what do I do? We're currently in baby steps 4, 5, and 6. Though we're not investing 15% of income into retirement yet, then you're not in baby steps 4, 5, and 6. That's the first one you do of that. It's still in order. You are doing them all at the same time, but that's still in order. That would be a total of $37,500 invested into retirement. I mean, you could do that. since you haven't invested anything that you could do that, and that would help you get some on this year's, because there's only 4 more months. So you only have 4 more months on this year for investing. So that way you would get that money on this year, and then next year you have the whole amount left to max it out. So that gives you more in retirement. And so you should have already been doing that if you were on 4, 5, and 6, instead of ignoring that and doing 5 or 6. So you're doing it wrong. Contributed, about $7,000 to my 401k so far. So what do I do with the rest of this? Pay down some of the mortgage, college fund. Appreciate any advice. So if the kids are little, the younger they are, the less you have to put in there per month. And again, you need to think about it not as a thing where constantly these big sums of money are going to be coming in. You need to think about 4, 5, and 6 as what you're doing regularly. Out of each paycheck, you should be putting 15% of your gross income into retirement out of each paycheck, each week or bi-weekly or monthly, however often you get paid. You want to put it in immediately. You don't save up a big chunk and put it in the market. You're losing out on gains that way. And 4 is the first one you do, and they are in order, so you would do that one first. The only exception would be, like we had one earlier that wanted to pay the house off early. If you can do it in 2 years, you can stop investing for 2 years and pay off the house early. If it's going to take you longer than that, Dave wants you investing the 15%. So again, it would depend on, basically it's dealer's choice, but since you haven't been, since you haven't even started step 4, I would go ahead and make up for lost time on that. And go ahead and max out for the year if you can. Let's see. Trying to see if they says do we have 2 401ks or is just one? Looks like it's just one. So yeah, you might want to max it out, and then the rest of it you can put some towards kid college and probably more of it, just a small percentage. Again, it depends on if the kids are going to college in 6 years, then that's more of a where you need to be putting a little more in. But if they're just toddlers, then you can just put in a little bit. And the lion's share of that could go to the mortgage. So either one, but I would probably advise, if this was my client, I would advise go ahead, and since you were erroneously not doing baby step 4 already, and maybe they just got to it, a week or so ago and haven't had time to get it going. But regardless, I would take advantage of having this calendar year and going ahead and having that max. What is that, like 32,000 or something like that? I always forget what the 401k max is. Oh, excuse me. So, but that would be. You can't go wrong on it, whichever one you do. But I would again take advantage of this year of 401k. So that you can take advantage of that since you haven't been doing it before. Or if you choose to, you can, if you have kids going to college soon, you can put it in college fund. Or you can divide it up. Also, you can divide it up in all 3 if you want to. Whatever you want to do is fine. But in general, it's not waiting for some big amount to come through like this. It would be you're doing a percentage, 15% into investing, X% into kid college, and anything left over goes into the mortgage to pay off the house early. Alrighty. Once again, youtube.com/coachstevemoney. New time for answering your financial questions is 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, and that is Saturdays and Sundays. And youtube.com/coachstevemoney. for my financial content, just scroll down to Answering Your Financial Questions playlist, Ramsey Show After Show playlist, and the music playlist, which I've talked about some of those songs. And so I should definitely put a link right there, even if there's not one on the other ones. So yeah, check those out if you are so inclined. Alrighty, I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach, not just some guy just here talking. And you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation with me at calendly.com/coachstevemoney. You can email me at coachstevemoney@gmail.com if you have any questions about anything on my channel, the financial advice, the coaching stuff. Any questions, I'll be glad to take those. Donations, go to paypal.me/coachstevemoney. Alternatively to Cash App, $CoachSteveMoney, or a Walmart gift card to coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Upcoming streams, this exact stream next weekend, answering your financial questions. And that is Saturdays and Sundays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, unless there is a Buckeye or Commanders game on. And the Ramsey Show After Show through September. It's going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays, 5:25 Eastern Time. And Ramsey Show Chat Refugee Streams. I'll be doing something, just providing a place for Ramsey chatters to show up, because now that the rest of the show goes to the app, there's no chat in there, so nowhere for us to talk. So you can come into my stream and make utilization of it, and I'll try to have some content of some type going on there, usually a video game. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment, and always make smart financial decisions every day.